Welcome back, everyone, to Happy Hunting, the series where we take real adversary behaviors and show you how you can hunt for them in your environment. I'm Lee Arcanal, and today we're looking at a group that has been responsible for several high-profile breaches in the past couple years, Scattered Spider. Scattered Spider has been active since at least 2022 and is somewhat unusual compared to many cybercriminal groups. The operators are known to be native English speakers, which makes their social engineering tactics especially effective. Early on, they focused heavily on telecommunication companies, technology firms, and business process outsourcing providers. Over time, that targeting expanded to include sectors like gaming, hospitality, retail, manufacturing, financial services, and managed service providers. But the interesting thing about Scattered Spider is that their attacks rarely begin with malware or exploits. They begin with people. So what happens after initial access? Well, the MITRE ATT&CK matrix really helps us understand the behaviors that follows. Once Scattered Spider gains access to the environment, the next phase is normally reconnaissance. They start mapping out the environment and identifying where they can go next. That might include enumerating users, identifying privileged accounts, and understanding the structure of the environment. From there, they begin lateral movement, moving between systems and expanding their access. What makes this group particularly challenging is that they don't rely on one specific malware family. Instead, they often use a mix of legitimate administrative tools and well-known offensive utilities. For example, they've been observed using tools like AD Explorer for Active Directory reconnaissance and Mimikatz for credential access. For persistence or tunneling, they may deploy tools like Chisel. And to maintain remote access inside a compromised environment, they frequently rely on something even simpler: remote monitoring and management tools. Remote monitoring and management tools, or RMM, are widely used in enterprise environments. Software like AnyDesk, TeamViewer, Screen Connect, LogMeIn, and VNC are commonly used by IT teams to troubleshoot systems and support remote employees. Because these tools are legitimate and widely trusted, they often blend in with normal administrative activity. For an attacker, that makes them extremely valuable. Instead of deploying custom malware to maintain access, an attacker can install a legitimate remote administration tool and use it as a command and control channel. Once installed, they can interact with the victim's system directly. They can see the user's screen, control the keyboard or mouse, and run commands as if they were sitting right in front of that machine. From the outside, that activity can look similar to legitimate IT support. Now, one tool that shows up frequently in investigations is AnyDesk. So why does AnyDesk matter? Well, AnyDesk is lightweight, easy to install, and commonly allowed in many environments. It also offers free trial access, which means an attacker can quickly deploy it without needing long-term infrastructure. But once installed, it provides a convenient remote access channel that can help the attacker move further into the environment. And that means the installation of the tool itself can become an important signal for hunters. In particular, we can look for the cases where AnyDesk is installed silently through the command line. A silent installation allows the attacker to deploy the software without displaying prompts or installation windows to the user. From a defender's perspective, that type of installation behavior can stand out if you know where to look. So the MITRE ATT&CK matrix helps us really understand these behaviors by capturing these descriptions and things they've seen in the wild. They capture tactics, techniques, and sub-techniques. In our case, the RMM tool abuse can be captured or can be found as remote access tools, remote desktop software, or sub-technique ID 1219.002. Now, this is where it says an adversary may use legitimate desktop support software to establish an interactive command and control channel to target systems within networks. They also help us understand who Scattered Spider is by capturing them as a group and identifying behaviors as well. And if we scroll down and check out the behaviors, we can see that, in fact, remote access tools or remote desktop software is one of the behaviors that they use. And then we can dig a little deeper by checking out the sub-technique itself and gathering information. Now, we're also going to jump into a community hunt package that you have access to, that you can find the link in the description. But what this looks for is that specific activity that we were just talking about, and that is the AnyDesk Silent Installation. To understand it a little bit more, we can come down to our query logic, which is our base logic, and it can identify our key value pairs that we're looking for. So in this case, we're looking for any of these values: AnyDesk, existing in the process command line, as well as silent, install, and start with win. So if you find all these in a single command line argument, it's a good indication that AnyDesk was installed silently on a machine. But what does that look like in the data? Well, we can take this query and apply it to a SIM and tool and see what the results look like. So we ran our query in our tool, and in this case, we got Splunk as our SIM, and we can see what results that we found. So we can see the image or the child process, it was PowerShell.exe. We see that the parent process path or the parent process was PowerShell. We got time and date. We got the computer or the host, which could be, basically our victim host. And if we come over to our command line arguments here, this is where we can see those command line arguments that have triggered this activity or triggered the silent installation. If we look in both examples, we can see -install, start with win, and silent, and then we see that AnyDesk.exe does exist. And that's, again, the indicators and the artifacts that we were looking for. So at this point, it gives us a good indication that, hey, there was a silent installation of AnyDesk. We need to research it. We need to figure out if this is a legitimate activity or if not. One thing you could always ask yourself is, does this exist anywhere in our environment, or is there any other machines that are doing this? If you look at that kind of trend, then you can really figure out, maybe this is more suspicious than we thought, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's super legitimate. Thank you all for joining today's Happy Hunting episode. We looked at how Scattered Spider gains access through social engineering and how legitimate tools like AnyDesk can be used to maintain remote access inside a compromised environment. The community hunt package we use today, AnyDesk Silent Installation, potential malicious RMM tool for installation, is linked in the description of this video. Try this query in your own environment. See what you can uncover, and let us know what threats you would like to see in future episodes by leaving a comment below. Until next time, happy hunting!